Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the important news and editorial that is relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 16th of February. The first important news, that is Understanding India's Mental Healthcare Act 2017. This is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Second, Cabinet clear 7 ITBP battalions for China's border. Third, China must take a haircut on its loan to poor countries. This is what G20 Sirpa Amitabh Kant has said. The second last is focus on procurement from the domestic defense manufacturing. And the last is an editorial, a manifesto of tackling the part of silent pandemic of AMR, that is antimicrobial resistance. A brilliant editorial that will give you an insight about the AMR. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin the session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful for examination purposes, do press a like button. Starting the session with the first news, that is Understanding India's Mental Healthcare Act 2017, something important for General Studies Paper 2, specifically under the subsection of General Studies, that is Welfare Schemes for the Vulnerable Section of the Population by the Centre and the State Governments. So recent report which was published by the NHRC, that is National Human Rights Commission, they have categorically said that and flagged concern about the inhuman and deplorable conditions about 46 government-run mental care healthcare institutions across the country. So NHRC ने एक concern raise की है about the conditions of the mental government health institution that is operating across the country, and to a larger extent they have also asked the report from the central government as well as from the state government that why this condition exists, despite the fact there were several recommendations that was given by the committees, and even the NHRC has itself taken a cognizance on the part of the process that is essentially required. Now the report notes that it facilitates kind of illegal keeping patients long for their recovery, and even what is called infringement to the human rights of a mentally ill patient. So everyone has a dignity to life, which is envisaged and protected under Indian Constitution. And even to the fact the Inhuman Act and the part of the process that is taking place in this condition was again concerning. The Commission has also already asked the notice, and they have served notice to state and central government. And their observation were made that even the visit was made for the operational government facilities exist on the part of implementations of the Mental Health Care Act 2017. So this act gives power for many other things, but we'll see the detailed part where actually it is lacking and how the part of implementation is not there by the state and central government. Now about MHA 2017, अगर mental health care की बात करें, Act this emphasizes the right of mentally ill person, and 2017 decriminalizes the attempt to commit suicide and prohibit inhumane form of the treatment. It also empower the person with mental illness to decide the mode of method for treatment. So this prerogative has been given to the patient, provided that they can comprehend the information provided to them. So it's not something that has to be either psychologically or even required psychiatric intervention would be there. Section 18(2) of the Mental Healthcare Act states that the mental healthcare services shall be at affordable cost, it's of good quality and available to the sufficient quality, accessibility geographically without any kind of discrimination, either based on gender, caste or any religions. It should not be discriminating on any among of them. Now under section 19 of the Act, the government was responsible for creating an opportunity for access less restrictive options to the community, such as halfway homes, shelter accommodations, rehabs home and supported accommodations. The Act acknowledged that the external factors such as income, social status, educational impact, and well-being, there should be like recovery from all psychopathic and other part of the psychiatric as well as social input, right? So these are the power which is there under the Mental Healthcare Act, and these provisions were not adequately implemented in either state government and even to a larger extent to the institution that is operated by the central government. Now, some challenges that was there. The majority of the states have not notified the minimum standard that are meant for ensuring the quality of mental health establishment. अगर बात करें MHE की, which is essentially required, the basic criteria or standard was not fulfilled. Now, poor budgetary allocation is another big concern, and the utilization of funds create a scenario where shelters home were under-equipped, establishment were understaffed, तो manpower की भी shortage बताई गई है. The professional and service provider were not adequately trained for the delivery of the healthcare. So these are the challenges that exist, and this immediately required the part of rectifications. Now, the mental healthcare safeguards the right of people in mental healthcare establishment and enforcement challenges remain. According to 2018 report by a Hans Foundation, it found that almost 36.25% of the residents serving the user of state psychiatric facilities were found to be living for 1 year more than in a facility, which essentially should not be there, because in that conditions, when individual or patient is living in such condition or such ambience, they need to ensure that they're given proper treatment, and as early as possible they should be shifted to a place which is a normal condition. Moving to the other news, Cabinet clears 7 ITBP battalions for China's China border to ensure that India is making a part of preparation on their end. Something important for General Studies paper 2 under the subtopic that is government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So recently, the Cabinet Committee on Security, this is called as CCS, the apex body which take care the decision regarding the cabinet on the part of security. It gave its approval for raising 7 additional battalion of ITBP, that is Indo-Tibet Border Police, in the India-China border. And this approval will call for the establishment of 47 new border outposts and 30 stand campaigns, keeping the view with the need of effective border surveillance. We have seen in the recent time China is increasing the part of man force, and even the forces deployment is high. So India is countering with the establishment of ITBP battalions, additional battalions. Now, beside this, 7 additional battalions of the Cabinet Committee on Security has also given the approval to set up sector headquarter of ITBP. So there will be a sector headquarter which will be also established along the India-China border. Now, enhancing the border strength, this is what government is looking forward with. The move will increase the strength of the Central Armed Police Forces with more than 10%. And in addition to that, the 7th battalion that will be raised for Arunachal Pradesh. And of this, 7 battalions in the sector headquarter will be completed by 2025 and 26. This is what the government has come up with a plan. And the decision was taken into consideration, where the fact is that the armies of India and China are engaged in standoff in Eastern Ladakh. अगर बात करें LAC की, this has been ongoing since 2020. Now, ITBP was raised in aftermath of 1962 Chinese aggressions, and it was asked to guard close to 3,488 kilometers of line of actual control in India eastern flanks. Now, to boost tourism in the village, government has come up with a specific scheme which is a part of Vibrant Village program. This is called VVP, right? So under this, what government has come, that the view to bolster the social and security part, the government is coming with a framework in the Chinese border where the Vibrant Village program to stop any kind of migration and boost tourism along the border, thus improving the quality of people living in the area. Now, moving to the other news, China must take haircut on its loan to poor countries. This is what the statement from India's G20 Sherpa, something important for General Studies paper 2 under the subtopic, that is India and its neighborhood relations. So India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant, has recently said in a statement that China must agree to take haircut on its loan to the poor country and assist their economy recovery. Many of the countries are in huge debt to China. I'll show you a map that will be giving you a complete idea about the countries that are debt to China. And he noted that China need to come out with openly and say that the debt is now and how to settle. They must look out for other ways where these countries should have their economic stability. Now, global sovereign debt roundtable की अगर बात करें, this was remarked by the G20 SERPA, assuming significance that India will be helping in the part of virtual meeting with the global sovereign debt roundtable organized by IMF, World Bank, and India, which will be like India is leading G20 member economic this year. The virtual roundtable, which will be followed by in-person meeting in Bengaluru in February 25, 2023. The meeting will feature country-specific decision that will focus on issues related to impeding reaching the timely debt structuring process. So restructuring है debt की, उसके क्या alternatives हो सकते हैं, how the countries can be providing a cushion so that they can actually have the economy and the stability part. The officials from the creditor countries, including China, India, Saudi Arabia, United States, and even the group of 7 members are expected to participate in the Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable. Now, what is a global response in this regard with regards to the debt which is there to China for many other countries? The United States have said, and it is vocal on the part, that the China's debt in developing countries, with top official frequently commenting that the top Asian lenders' role in restructuring process. So definitely US has taken the part of cognizance where China is now definitely implying on the part of that is there to many other countries. And India has seldom made that mention of China where commencing on the part of sovereign debt to the other countries as well. Now, countries with most in debt to China, the country include Djibouti with 53%. These are the top 5 countries. I'll show you a map where other countries are also specified. Angola with 41%, Maldives 38%, Laos 30%, and Congo with 29%. Already we have seen that Sri Lanka was a country, right, which was again with huge debt to China. India, in a proactive measures, have given a lot of efforts and even financial assistance to Sri Lanka, after which it has come up with the economic recession that was considered as the worst economic recession post-independence to Sri Lanka. Now, some other countries that is also in a huge debt to China. These are the country, the part of their external debt to GDP on the part of to China. This include the Kazakhstan, Laos, Cambodia, Djibouti, Maldives, Niger, and Congo. So these are the countries on the part. And apart from this, there are other many countries, but these are the major country which is huge debt to China. Now, Sri Lanka case की अगर बात करें, the Sri Lankan government has said that the debt-ridden island nation has hoped to receive 2.9 billion package by March to set country's economic path of recovery. And this is a painful financial crunch that Sri Lanka is witnessing. Not only the government, but even the citizen of this country is having a lot more problems. Although the Export-Import Bank of China has offered 2-year moratorium to Sri Lanka. But again, this is not something where China will able to pay out. Now, even China is yet to provide specific financing assurances to IMF to help Sri Lanka to unlock 2.9 bailout package, and even desperately counting to rebuild its economy. So this is a time there's a change in government in Sri Lanka. They will be looking forward to first provide stability to the economy, and second most to control the inflation part. So for a country to function properly, these two parts need to be essentially taken care of. Now, moving to the other news, India to focus on procurement for domestic defense manufacturers, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So in a post to government plan and to achieve a self-reliance or Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense sector, India will spend 75% of its defense capital in 2023 and 2024 financial year. This was a decision which was taken by the Union Defense Ministry, and even to a larger extent, this was during the Aero India Summit, which is taking place in Bengaluru, Karnataka. Now, it's significant that the decision aimed at boosting the indigenous productions of various weapons and military platforms. Now, what is the roadmap of Government of India in this regard? How we can achieve the target? The roadmap would be there that government is aiming to set up around 1 lakh crore of procurement from domestic resources, which will be the total defense budget of 1,62,600 crore rupees with the union budget. And according to the official data, the value of indigenous defense productions, that is from 2019-20 to 2022, was 2,58,000 crore rupees. Now for 2021, the government has set aside 58% of the defense capital outlay procurement for Indian defense industries. These data is again important, specifically if you're writing an essay, or if you are writing an essay on general studies paper 2, or even if you're writing an essay on a CAPF paper, which is conducted by UPSC, right? So it was increased to 64% by 2021 and 22. The allocation was further increased by 68% in 22 and 23. So these are the roadmap which government would be looking forward with, and these are the actual data in terms of the total percentage that government will be having expenses on the defense sectors. Now the defense has set goal for turnaround of $20 billion, that is 1.75 lakh crore rupees in defense manufacturing by 2024, which include the target of 5 billion, that is of military hardware. And in the last few years, the government has taken serious measures to promote domestic and defense productions. Now moving to the editorial of the day, a manifesto of tackling the silent pandemic of AMR, something important for general studies paper 2, that is issues related to development and management of health. It's a brilliant editorial, very important editorial that will give you an insight about the part of AMR, which is written by Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. She is a former chief scientist at World Health Organization. Now, what is the part of discussion under this editorial? First, the theme of this editorial is antimicrobial resistance. And some of the important issues include about the antimicrobial resistance. We'll see what is the actual AMR, what are its consequences that due to AMR, India, and the Muscat conference, very important for mains examination and even for prelims also. Focus of the Muscat conference, India's commitment, high level of resistance, reducing the uses of antimicrobials, national action plan government की क्या है, और way forward के साथ इसे conclude करेंगे. Now, antimicrobial resistance is a growing concern worldwide. It's not specifically confined to India, but it's a global problem which many countries are facing. Now, according to the World Health Organization, it is one of the top 10 global challenges or changes that the entire globe is witnessing, which has resulted to a death of 4.9 million deaths in 2019 itself. Now, while the world is emerging from the acute phase of COVID-19, there's a harmful and invisible pandemic which is ongoing with AMR. So very important point that AMR by the global expert, by the health scientist or the health expert, they're calling it as an invisible pandemic, right? Which is unfortunately going to stay in country, not only for India, but for all across the world. Now, the global public health response has been threatened due to rising misuse and overuse of antibiotics, which is there for human and animal. So my personal suggestions to all of you, do not get medicine or antibiotics directly over the counter. Ensure that you are being consulted with a doctor before you get any antibiotics. And other part that need to be taken care once you are consuming on the part of antibiotics, the doses has to be completed, right? So the misuse of antibiotics with over the counter in India specifically has highlighted the issues of antimicrobial resistance. Now about AMR, what is antimicrobial resistance? So AMR occurs when the microorganisms such as bacteria, virus, parasite, fungi become resistant to antimicrobial treatment which they were previously susceptible. तो जो दवाइयाँ या जो medicines पहले काम किया करती थी, now they become resistant to that medicine and the medicine is not actually functional. I'll show you an image also that will help you understand on the part of that. Now, microbial resistance to antibiotics makes it harder to treat infection such as pneumonia, tuberculosis, blood poisoning, and several foodborne diseases as well. Now, India's network for surveillance of antimicrobial resistance, एक study की गई थी INSAR के द्वारा, and they found that high rate of resistance to common drug uses such as ciprofloxacin. These are the drug which is mostly used in India, right? So ciprofloxacin, gentamicin, cotrimoxazole, erythromycin, and clindamycin. So these are the drugs which is frequently used and resulted in the antimicrobial resistance. Now, this is how it actually works. Suppose you're taking a medicine and these are the microbes, right? So microbe first instances, if you're taking a new medicine, it will work. Now, if it is taking repeatedly, microbes has a coating and resistance to that. And this particular microbes multiply, and when you eat the same drug, the same salt, it's not actually function as desired, right? So this is called the resistance on the part of bacteria. Now, what are the consequences of this? How it is going to impact? AMR की अगर बात करें, it impose a huge health cost to the patient for a longer hospitalization and even the health complications and delayed recovery. Because जो medicine के जिस potential में काम करनी चाहिए, that is actually not there because the body, the microbes, the bacteria, the viruses has actually made themselves resistant to an individual salt, or you can say the medicine. The patient puts undergoing with the surgeries, treatments such as chemotherapy, that is again a riskier part. Many a times patients recover, but the advanced medicine procurement but succumb to untreatable infections. And AMR adds burden to communicable diseases and stain the health system of the country. Now, death due to AMR, अगर antimicrobial resistance से death की बात करें, 2019 की report है, which counted that 4.95 million people were affected. And as a report of OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, it says that phenomenal increase देखी जा सकती है AMR के patients में by 2030. A very important point. You can use this fodder point in mains examination. Prelims में भी कई बार ये relevant हो सकती है. Now, according to the ICMR, it says that 2022 study shows that the resistance level has increased from 5% to 10% every year on a broad spectrum of antimicrobials. Now, India and Muscat conference, very, very important. If you're writing in mains paper with regards to AMR, this is something, a must that you have to write. So at G20 presidency, India will be definitely looking for the part of the vulnerability which is there and also ensure the development that should be there in the AMR. So India is committed to have a third global high-level ministerial conference on antimicrobial resistance. And even if India was a part of the Muscat Ministerial Manifesto, right? So over 30 countries that have participated in this. And the Muscat Manifesto need to accelerate the political commitment in terms of implementation of World Health One Action and controlling the spread of AMR. It recognized to need the address of AMR not only for human but also for animal. So one thing that has to be kept in mind, we should not only confine this to human. It should be also taken care for animal as well, and the areas of environment health, food security, economic growth and development. Now, focus of Muscat conference की अगर बात करें, जो Muscat Ministerial Manifesto conference हुई है, उनमें कुछ 3 health targets पे focus की गई हैं. The first is reducing the amount of antimicrobial that is used in agri foods by 30 to 50% by 2030. Elimination use of animal and food productions of antimicrobial that are medically important for human health. Ensuring 2030 of at least 60% of overall antibiotic consumptions of for human, that is WHO access group and antibiotics. और ये जो manifesto है encourage करती है to prioritize the national plan and keeping AMR for one health approach. So essentially, not only for India, it is something which is at the global level and every country need to adopt this strategy. Now, what is India commitment in this regard? अगर India की बात करें, India has committed to strengthen the part of surveillance and promoting the research on newer drugs. Although India is a country which produce the world largest medicine, right? Productions की अगर बात करें, India world की बहुत बड़ी country जहाँ पे manufacturing एक high level पे की जाती है, generic medicines में भी. And India planned to strengthen the private sector engagement. And there was a data which was there by the WHO Global Antimicrobial Resistance use a surveillance system which is known as GLASS and other standardized systems. Now, high level of resistance that is witnessed to this virus, bacteria and fungi. WHO has increasingly expressed concern about the dangerously high level of antimicrobial resistance about the patient across the country. Now, take an example like ciprofloxacin की अगर बात करें, antibiotic है which is used to treat the urinary tract infection. Now, according to WHO, ये resistance की है ciprofloxacin case where the resistance level from 8.4% has reached out to 92.9% for the E. coli, right? तो E. coli जो bacteria हैं उनकी resistance इतनी ज़्यादा बढ़ गई है that they are not even functioning to the ciprofloxacin, right? So this is one example. There are a lot many examples which is there. Even if you want, you can write it down in the as a note. The global epidemic to TB has been severely impacted as a multi-drug resistance, and the patient have less than 60% of chance of recovery. So the chance of recovery reduced drastically, and there's only 40% that the chances that you will recover, and 60% severity is there that this drugs will not actually function. Now, reducing the uses of antimicrobial, there's definitely an urgent need to reduce the part of agri-microbial drug in food ecosystem. And the country like Netherlands and Thailand have decreased the uses almost close to 50%. Again, a factual information. And even China, the consumption of antibiotics in agriculture sector has fallen, and the use of antibiotics in healthy animals to boost growth has been reduced in the last decade for many countries. So neither to animal nor to human being it should be there, and for both of the part it should be reduced, and India should also make an efforts where the antibiotics should be reduced both for human consumption as well as for the animal consumptions. Now, National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance की अगर बात करें, there's a plan called National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance that have emphasized on the effectiveness of government initiative, right? उसके अलावे गवर्नमेंट की स्वच्छ भारत अभियान है, कायाकल्प और स्वच्छ स्वास्थ्य सर्वस्था. This is again the government program that is helping, and this is attempting to increase the community awareness about the health program, better food production practices, especially in animal food industry, right? And the National Health Policy also offered a specific guideline regarding the antibiotics, use of antibiotics over the counter, and even restricting the use of antibiotic to the growth of the livestock. So I have detailed this part of the analysis because it's a very important one. You can be directly asked in the examination about the antimicrobial resistance and mains specifically, where the question will give you an added advantage. Now, the way forward, the various G20 health summit spread across 2023 will provide an opportunity for India and other global leaders to address the issue of AMR. और कुछ core areas हैं जिन पे prioritize करने की ज़रूरत है. First, they need to have a surveillance on phenotypic and genotypic priority, which is there for pathogen, including the WHO GLASS platform. Regulatory policy actions to stop the antibiotics, that is important for human health. No use of antibiotics for the promotion of animal or the growth of animals. More government investment in research and innovations for the new antibiotics. Explore use of vaccines to prevent the infection during the AMR in organism and human and animal. And special focus in combating the tuberculosis and the drug resistance to TB is there. So if this thing is well incorporated by India and many other countries, we can be rest assured that yes, the target, although as a longer run, will be achieved. So if you're writing specifically in mains examination, you have to highlight all these key area and key action plan that is essentially required by the countries. Now, moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option was B, and for second question, the correct option was C. Today's MCQ for practice, the first question is about the light combat helicopter. Yesterday, we had a discussion about the LCH. So a variety of missile can fire a variety of missile. It can be designed. It was designed by the Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. It can be used against slow moving aircraft also. So which among the following is a correct one? Do check it out. The second question of the day, that is in a big category state, the first award for Swachh Sarveksha Gramin was given to which of the following state, whether it's Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat or Telangana. So this type of contemporary related awards and prizes is again important for the prelims examination. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.